you understand what was going on in Corinth? There were some people there who were of means. I told you it was even socially and economically diverse. So there were some people who had it real good. There were some people in Corinth, you know what I'm saying, they had gold and silver, and they would party every night, and they would smoke and do these different kinds of things, and
they're doing everything. Yep, they were doing everything.
So there was this and that in Corinth. Yes. And so what happened was is that there were people there, even who had been converted and who had come to the church, who still had some of their old ways. And Paul, being the missionary, Paul being the apostle, you understand, because apostles bring order. He had to send this letter to bring order to the Corinthian church. And so he begins to write to them. And this is where we find ourselves in verse 13. He says, I need to help us to keep some things in perspective.
Let's be clear. Yes.
Let's see what Paul says here. He says, though I speak with tongues of men and of angels and have not love, I myself have become of sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. See, I like the way that Paul was teaching them, because he didn't point at them and say you. He said, if I speak with tongues of men and angels. Now see, we get in here, we get real excited because we can speak in tongues and because we can do all of these real spiritual, cute things or whatever. But Paul said, let's keep the main thing the main thing. That's actually my first point, but I didn't read all the scripture.
I love it, yes.
Though I speak with tongues of men and of angels and have not love, I have become sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. He goes on to say, and though I have the gift of prophecy and I understand all of these mysteries, I do church really, really well, and I have all knowledge and I have all faith so that I can move mountains, and I don't have love, I am nothing. This is the point, the first point that I have to make here to us, is that we have got to keep the main thing the main thing. We've got to make sure that we prioritize things properly, and that we don't just come here to Chicago to have church, but we come here understanding what our mandate is. And Paul was telling the Corinthians, I know that you're excited about coming into this new thing, but let's slow down a little bit. I heard Brother John say a little earlier today. See, we want there was an apostle plan. So we get to these hot spots in the service, and it gets hot, and we rolling on the floor, and we shouting and dancing and all of that. And sometimes it gets to a point where it gets too hot, and it starts bubbling over, and if we're not careful, we'll burn it.
Bring it down to a simmer.
Paul said we need to bring this thing down to a simmer. Understand what it is that we have been called to do. He said unto them here that if we do all of these things and we don't keep the main thing, which is love, we have become as sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. We can do a little bit more teaching here. And understand why this is really important. That he would use this type of simile where he would say sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. When you understand the times, because again, when you approach the scripture, you've got to understand what was going on socially. You've got to understand what was important to those people. You have to understand the vernacular and their colloquialism. See, a joke that we would tell today may not be appropriate then because they don't understand what's going on in our society. So Paul says, if I do all of these churchy things and I don't have love, it's like I am sounding brass, tinkling cymbal. What does that really mean? Sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. See, some of us just think that that's noise. But how many know that with noise comes some explanation of where the noise emanates? Sounding brass in this particular context was something that the Corinthians would have understood because they were in a place in society where all around them there were all of these other pagan religions. And what would happen is that those who would go to worship some of these other gods, when it was time to go up to worship, they would take this gong-like thing and they would beat it, and it would be this incessant beating, and you would hear all of this worship to all of these other gods going on all around them, and it was called like sounding brass. And the reason that brass was important for him to say here is because brass is not a pure metal. Teach. On the inside of brass is tin. And And so it made this loud noise that was irritating. And it would go on and on and on. And what Paul was saying here is, church, if we don't get to a place where we're able to show love, we're going to be just like those who worship other gods. We're making a bunch of noise. We're getting on the world's nerves. We're getting to a place where we have become an irritant and not a healing balm. That's sounding brass. Claiming. Sound like a pagan.
You help us,
We
God.
get on their nerves.
Help us, God.
We got to get to a place where we got to make a new sound, because the sound that they're making, sound that we're making, if we're not careful, repels people instead of drawing them in. Is there anybody besides me that can't even stand to turn on TBN anymore? Maybe I was too transparent. I'm sorry.
Tell the truth.